All right, so welcome to the battle camp. What is the battle camp? The battle camp is a place where you can come for opinion, observations, analysis on the latest news and current events when it comes to combat sports. And when I say combat sports, I mean mainly kind of boxing and MMA related events. Um, I've been running a YouTube channel for about a year now, and I've built up a cheeky little following. I've got about 300 subscribers, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot. But I've got quite a few people that regularly come and check in on my videos and comment, and a few of them have got in touch with me via Instagram and Twitter and other social media platforms and have asked me to start uploading content as a podcast, because I suppose when it comes to the kind of thing that I do, it's actually easier for people to digest the content via a podcast platform as opposed to the YouTube channel, because you don't necessarily have to watch me as I'm saying what I'm saying. I don't put video up and analyze fights with supporting footage to help make my point. I just kind of share my opinion about what's going on in the fight world. So yeah, I suppose the content that I create is better suited for people that prefer to just listen to audio only. I've been thinking about creating a podcast kind of channel. I don't even know what the right word is. Just creating a podcast since I started doing the YouTube, to be honest. My idea with doing the YouTube channel was I just felt it was a more accessible place for people. But now that I've kind of understood how things work a little bit better when it comes to creating content, I've decided to take the plunge, and this is the first thing that I'm recording as a podcast. It's a bit of a shame, really, because of what's currently going on in this planet that we live in, coronavirus and all of that. There's literally nothing to talk about. The story here, or the event here, is the fact that there are no boxing events or MMA events because of this virus. It's a crazy time to be alive. Honestly speaking, like I can't remember a time in my existence on this planet quite like what we're going through right now. And it over the last couple of weeks, I was a bit blasé about it all. I was laughing and joking and just liking memes on Twitter and Instagram about the coronavirus and just being quite light-hearted about it. But over the last couple of days, things have just gotten a little bit more serious for me. So on Tuesday, so it's now Thursday. So on Tuesday or Wednesday, so it's Thursday the 19th of March, because obviously you might not be listening to it today. But yeah, so as of me recording this, it's Thursday the 19th of March, and I think it was on the Tuesday, my workplace basically said to us, work from home, don't come into the office. So I live in London, and so since Tuesday I've been sat at home working, and I've just been kind of observing how people have been acting with all the news that's been filtering through. You kind of don't know what to believe and what you should be believing, etc. And just the way people have been reacting, hoarding stuff, going to supermarkets and clearing out the shelves and stuff like that. At first I thought, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you? Why are people behaving like this? And now that I'm sat at home and I've got a bit of a cold, I've got a bit of a sore throat, a bit of a headache, my eyes feel a bit puffy, and it kind of makes it a bit more real just because I feel a bit crappy. And I've no doubt that this is just a cold that I've got, but now that I've got it, it does make you think, fuck, have I got coronavirus? Have I got it? And I'm not sitting here scared that I'm gonna die on my sleep tonight, but I do have people in my family, my grandma, that are, elderly people that have pre-existing health issues, etc. And it just kind of, you just, like, people are telling us to be careful for a reason, and it just kind of drives that home a little bit more. And the one thing that I don't understand with all of this is this hoarding that's going on. People going to shopping markets and, like I said, clearing out the shelves. Like, I don't, like, I'm not the first person that's gonna make this point, but if everyone just continued as normal, then there'd always be food on the shelves in supermarkets. Like, there's no need for anyone to hoard anything. Like, even if the country goes into this lockdown mode, they're still gonna have shops and retailers are still gonna be open, and they're still gonna make food available for us to go and buy. By the fact that people are now rushing out to stockpile on provisions for themselves, it's causing a massive knock-on effect, because now normal people like myself that aren't inclined to go and hoard and stockpile, when normal people get the opportunity to buy basic things such as toilet paper or whatever, tinned food, etc., normal people are stockpiling because they know next time it might not be available, so I might as well buy a bit extra of this because people are acting crazy. Just earlier on, I saw on Twitter this Australian, I don't know whether he was a governor, he seemed like a politician, he was dressed in a suit and he looked quite boring, so I just assumed he's a politician. But he was making this passionate speech saying how I'm really disappointed in the Australian people, that there's no need to hoard. Like, what are you guys doing? It's very un-Australian of you. And I felt that right in my fucking bones the way he was saying that, because he's right. He's right at the end of the day. There's no need for it. But yeah, I'm going off topic, and the reason I'm going off topic when the topic should be combat sports is because there's nothing going on at the moment. There's no fights at the moment. It's a really weird time. I'd say that my main, even though my YouTube channel is about boxing and MMA, the sport that I follow closest is football. I'm an Arsenal fan, and just the fact that there's no football on the weekend, or I don't know when the next game is. I don't know what I'm looking for. Like, I genuinely live my life from football match to football match to boxing event to boxing event to MMA event to MMA event. Like, it's sad though, I shouldn't really be saying this out loud, but my life is configured around these events. So, like, I look forward to a Wednesday, for example, if Arsenal are playing. So on the Monday, I'll be like, all right, cool, Arsenal playing Wednesday. Saturday, we're playing again. Then in the evening, there's a boxing match. And then at 3 in the morning, there's a UFC event. So that's kind of, then I base my life around that. You can tell I'm still single with me saying this out loud. But that's just how I am. That's just how I live my life. And I don't have that anymore. And apart from that, the fact that I'm just having to work from home now every single day, sat in my room, it's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling. It's hard to describe, because yeah, I'm fitting well. It's not like I'm getting hungry. You know, it's not like I'm wanting for anything or I'm missing anything. But at the same time, just because my natural or my usual routine has been thrown off, it feels like there's something big coming on the horizon. It feels like we're in a film. It feels like there's something, there's another shockwave gonna drop at any point, at any moment. Do you know what I mean? It feels like something's gonna happen, and it's not gonna be good. And I hope I'm wrong. It's not like I'm predicting this or preempting this. Like, obviously, I don't want anything bad to happen, but it just, like, I don't know. I can't see the finishing line. I can't see when all of this is gonna stop, and we can just go back to our normal lives and watch football and watch boxing and watch MMA and go out to restaurants and just enjoy nice food and go for a beer with our mates. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I am being a lot more serious about this coronavirus stuff, because I wasn't. I went out on Saturday night, and I didn't really take extra precautions. I didn't keep washing my hands every 5 minutes. I wasn't singing happy birthday to myself whilst I was washing my hands. I just carried on as normal, like as I would have if this stuff wasn't going on. But now that I've got a little bit of a tickly throat, and I've got a slight shit developing in me that I'm shitting myself, I'm trying to be a lot more careful, man. I'm trying not to spend time with actual humans. I'm just cooped up in my room, and that's what I'm doing. But apart from all that, the whole point of this recording this podcast, it's just to kind of introduce the channel myself. Um, and I really just wanted to use this platform to share my views on kind of, like I said, current events and fight news and stories that break within the world of combat sports. I just can't do it with this particular recording, because, like I said, there's fuck all going on. There's nothing to talk about. Like I said, apart from the fact that there are no fights, there are no events, and nobody knows when that's going to change. I suppose one thing that I can talk about a little bit is the fact that there's talk of the UFC trying their best to find a venue that will stage the Khabib Tony Ferguson fight. Now, if you're familiar with my YouTube channel, I made a video about this driving to work a couple of days ago, where I said I don't want to see this fight in an empty arena. I really, really, really believe that football, and combat sports, boxing and MMA, the crowd play a massive part in the viewing experience of those sports. I watched a football match just as this coronavirus stuff was spreading. I watched a football match with no audience, behind closed door type of game. And then the Kevin Lee and Oliveira card, that was, no audience there as well. And it was surreal watching it. Like, as the action's going on, yeah, it's fine, but just like it feels like the events lose some electricity. They lose their soul, it feels like. And for me, the Khabib and Tony fight is a fight that I've been looking forward to for so long, and that fight has got so much heart and soul. And what I mean by that is because it's been cancelled so many times, and because of the ups and downs that Khabib's been through, and the ups and downs that Tony's been through, and the fact that both of them have all but cemented the fact that they're the best two fighters at 155 pounds in the world. But not only that, these two guys are genuine pound for pound list fighters. Like, they're genuinely fighters that you could say belong on the top 10 pound for pound list. And they just so happen to be in the same division, and they just so happen to be on a collision course that has been going on for 4 or 5 years, and the moment is nearly here. The moment is nearly here for them to step in a cage, and for it to finally be, for us to finally find out who's the better man, who's the better fighter. And for that to happen just in a cage without an audience, like, I don't know, man. I feel like it takes a lot away from that fight. Having said that, the way this fight has fallen through so many times, I can understand and appreciate the UFC trying to get this done by hook or by crook. I can understand why they're exploring the options and trying to see whether they can stage this event in an empty arena. I don't begrudge them for that. It's just not an ideal scenario. It's not an ideal scenario, but we're not in an ideal situation. We're in a predicament here, aren't we? And if the UFC are going to put on a fight between two of the very best in the fight game, during a time in our lives where there's no live sport happening full stop, then I'll be nothing but grateful. Because I'd rather see it in an empty arena than not see it at all. And I appreciate the UFC. Their business model is predicated on live events and the revenue they generate from the live audience at the events, and then obviously all of the money they get from pay-per-views and kind of broadcasting rights and rights fees, etc. And if they're not staging events and they're not making money, I appreciate that, and they got to keep things ticking along themselves. So yeah, that's fine. I get it. I totally understand it. But it's just a shame for me personally as a fan. It's just a shame, man, because one of the things that I love most about a big fight is watching the entrances of the two guys in the main event and the energy in the arena. Like, you can feel it just watching it on TV. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to be there at one of these big events one day. Like, I actually did I actually did think about going to the Khabib and Tony fight, and I was looking online for accommodation and flights and stuff like that, and then I saw the ticket prices, and then I just exited out because I ain't got my I ain't got that kind of money, to be honest. Because I didn't want to go there and sit in shit seats, you know. Like I thought, all right, well, you know, we'll go and sit in like good seats, you know. I don't mind paying $300-400. Do you know what I mean? I'll get like really expensive seats, like where I can nearly touch Dana White and stuff like that. And then I had a look, and then just like average seats were like $3,000, and I was like, all right, mate, yeah, I ain't going there. I ain't gonna go to that fight. But yeah, yeah. Listen. I don't really have much to say on this occasion. But I don't know. I don't even know yet whether I'm going to be just uploading the stuff that I record for YouTube on this podcast channel. I don't know what the right word is. Is it a podcast channel? I don't know, man. But basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't know whether I'm just going to mirror my YouTube channel with this podcast stuff, so people have an option, you know, to either just watch it on YouTube or stream it on a podcast service, or whether I'm going to do different things. I might just use the podcast stuff to just kind of riff to you guys and just talk crap, and it might just turn into me just expressing my views and opinions about a whole load of things, not just MMA and boxing. And it might just be that I you know, have podcast content that's separate to my YouTube stuff. I don't know yet. I'm still kind of working that out. I think the overall goal, my main kind of goal with all of this is to build up enough of an audience to then eventually maybe speak to professional fighters or people within the combat sports industry and just have a conversation. I don't like to call it an interview because I wouldn't know how to interview someone, but I would like to have a conversation with people that fight or are involved in the fight game, just because I think I'd approach it differently to how a lot of these people do. And I understand and I appreciate, like, you know, you get people that spend their lives just, you know, having to interview boxers and promoters, etc. They have to discuss issues that are at hand at that point. Who are they fighting next? What went wrong in your last fight? Oh, that was an amazing performance in your last fight. Do you know what I mean? Like things that are happening there and then. And I'd just like to have a conversation about general stuff, not just fight stuff, just general kind of discussion. I don't see a lot of that happening in the fight game at the moment, and I'd like to explore that. But obviously, I just can't just, you know, approach fighters on bloody social media and be like, oh, Jed, you want to talk to me? I've got 300 subscribers on YouTube. It's not really going to work, is it? So we got to build the channel, start getting more views, pussy and views, and, you know, stuff like that, really. But yeah, this is the first. So this is the first of many, hopefully. I don't think it will be a consistent podcast. It's not like I'm going to be doing a podcast on set days at a set time, etc. I have a normal day job. I got to fit all of this stuff around it, which is why I record YouTube videos. On my way to work. It's just a nice window of opportunity for me to express my views. And I kind of feel like, you know, I've tried to record videos once I've come home from work, and I'm not as on it once I've come home from work compared to how I am in the morning when I'm fresh on my way to work. I found that out about myself. Like right now, so it's nearly 9 p.m. and I feel like I'm stuttering over my words a little bit and stuff like that. And in the morning, I don't have that. In the morning, I've had a coffee, I've had a shit, I've had a shower, I'm in my car, I'm on my way to work, I feel good, and then I can just bang them out. But then in the evening, it's not that easy for me for some reason. I kind of feel a bit clouded sometimes and jaded and whatnot. So yeah, that's the reason why I've started to record videos on my way to work. I just feel like I can string words together a bit better. But I suppose the point I was trying to make with all of that is, this podcast channel, it's not going to be, you know, a 1 hour podcast twice a week or whatever. I'm just going to upload stuff as and when throughout the week, as and when something hits me, or I want to talk about something, because it's not actually that easy, man. I've been talking now for about 20 minutes, and it's not easy just sitting here talking to yourself. It's quite a difficult thing to do. Like, I started doing this all originally because there's people on YouTube that I watch quite a lot. One of them being a guy called Hatman. His channel's Hatman Strikes Back, and he's like, the way he does his boxing content is so like clear, and his videos are so concise in what he's saying. And it was at, when I started doing all of this, it was at a time where I thought, like, I like what he does. And I had started up a website called battlecamp.com. I think it's still there, the battlecamp.com. And originally I was just writing articles about MMA and boxing and stuff like that, but no one was reading them. And it was costing me like £300 a year to keep the website going. So I decided to just start doing YouTube, because I thought, well, look, at least on YouTube it's free, and people are consuming content more via YouTube than they are reading articles and stuff, especially if it's for a website that no one's ever heard of, and I'm not investing in ads and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So I started doing YouTube, and at that time, when I first started doing it, I realized how hard it is to just sit there and talk to yourself. It's not an easy thing to do, man. I'm doing it now, but and to be fair, right now I don't even have any notes or nothing. I've literally just turned the mic on and started speaking, and I'm surprised I'm still going. Like, but yeah, it's a difficult skill. It's a lot easier when you actually have a specific point that you want to talk about, or a specific point of view on a specific event, or something that's happened, a news story, and you've got an opinion on it, and it's just a lot easier to just do boom, 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 and get it out there. Yeah, and that's, I think I've improved a little bit over my time. I feel like I'm a lot sharper in saying what I want to say. I feel like in the past I'd make a video and it might last between 15 and 20 minutes, and then I'd listen back to it and I'd be repeating myself, or I'd be saying things like really making a point, but in a convoluted way. Like, not like I'd listen to it and be like, oh, that whole 30-second chunk of what you said didn't need to be there. You could have just said it in 3 sentences rather than 3 minutes. Do you know what I mean? But I think I've gotten better at that. The nerves have gone. I used to be quite nervous to it when I first started. I don't know why, because I'm sitting in my room talking to myself, but I suppose in the back of my mind I knew that I'm doing this to upload onto YouTube, and perfect strangers are going to listen to this and they might think I'm a twat. And I've lost that now, because I just know I'm a twat, so I don't worry about I don't worry about people thinking that I'm a twat, because I already know it, man. We already know it. But yeah, this is just an introduction, man. I hope the fight game starts up again, because I can then start doing this properly, and start actually sharing my opinions about fights and fighters and events, etc. Because you know what, to be honest with you, with people that have got in touch with me about the YouTube stuff, they've I've got majority kind of positive feedback, which is a nice feeling, really, considering that one of the drivers of starting all of this was just because I kind of had no one to talk to about boxing and MMA at the level that I kind of consume it. So a lot of my friends do like boxing, but a lot of them, they're not kind of really kind of consumed by the sport the way I am. So you're having kind of conversations that they're not really doing anything for me, and that's no offense to my mates, but it's just like I can't really get into the mud of it with my mates, because it's kind of, you know, they're not extreme fans the way I am, I suppose. So that's kind of what I started doing all of this to start with. But yeah, I suppose this is a decent little introduction to me. I'm kind of my motivation behind all of this, and why I've started doing all of this, and how I've got to where I am at this point, and where I hope to go in the future. And I'd appreciate if you guys come on this journey with me. It'll be nice. We can be friends. don't forget to so if you're listening to this, subscribe to the Twitter and Instagram, which is both the Battle Camp. The YouTube is also the Battle Camp. This podcast is also called the Battle Camp. So I've got a nice universal tidy little finish there. So subscribe to all the platforms, because there's different things on each of them. I'm not really active on Twitter, to be honest, so you don't really have to follow that. You're not missing much. But on Instagram, I post some stuff that I don't post on the other on YouTube, and the YouTube's got loads of my stuff. I've done quite a few videos. So if you just stumbled across this podcast and you're still listening, then check out the YouTube channel. I think I'm gonna post this on YouTube, just so people subscribe to the podcast, because I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to that, so I'll catch you guys next time.